Hi, this is Naomi with H-PEP, and today we're going to talk about ACR, or Active Constructive Responding. Did you know that there are 4 different ways to respond to someone's good news? Yeah, so they are, number 1, being a joy multiplier, which is also known as ACR, a conversation killer, a conversation hijacker, or a joy thief. And today we'll learn about all of these types of responses, and hopefully you'll be able to practice ACR a little more often in your conversations. Active Constructive Responding, or ACR, is found to be the most effective way to respond. It's also found to be the only one of the 4 different types of responses that builds relationships. So that's something to pay attention to. It gives you and the listener a positive outcome, and it focuses on the strategy, behavior, or process that brought about the good outcome. Again, so you're asking questions, you're super excited. When someone tells you great news, like for example, hey, I want a trip to Las Vegas. An example of ACR would be, oh my gosh, it's so awesome. How'd you win it? Where are you going? And being very genuine in your response. When you use it is when someone gives you really great news or just something that they're super happy about. If you want them to feel heard and you want them to feel like you are building a relationship, ACR is totally the way to go. And if you notice the happy face icon on the bottom, ACR makes people feel happy, heard, and connected. And those are all really great things. I'm sure that you are already doing this as educators. Probably comes naturally to you to build relationships. This might not be new information, but maybe new terminology, and hopefully it's something that's super helpful to you. Next, we're going to watch a video by Dr. Gable, and she's going to talk a little bit more about what ACR is.
I do believe that very strongly that this active constructive responding is a key building block for relationships, and really will help people who may not have the capacity to be loved and be loved as one of their strongest traits. It will help build up that capacity within them, because it is a very upward, in Barb Fredrickson's words, upward spiral type of process, where you start responding in an active constructive way. It leads to positive emotions in the other person, and back and forth and back and forth. We've seen this numerous times in our we bring couples into the lab or friendships, dyads and things. We bring them into the lab, we have them have a conversation, share a positive event, and you can see this upward spiral of positive emotion happening as one person shares the event, the other person responds actively, constructively, and it just goes up from there. You also can see the flip side of that. One person shares an event, the other person responds in an active, destructive way or a passive way, and it's deflated immediately. The positive affect pretty much leaves the room.
Isn't that really interesting what she said about the upward spiral and downward spiral? I think we've all been in conversations where we've experienced that, right? Either by someone's words and actions, you are feeling uplifted after you share your great news, or totally deflated. And the goal of learning about ACR is to, again, choose active constructive responding as much as possible. You can see here a grid, active and passive across the top, and constructive and destructive along the side. Again, active constructive is when you're a joy multiplier. You're super excited, you're taking that person's joy about their good news and you're timesing it by 100, timesing it by 1,000, multiplying it. There's also passive constructive, where you're still saying the words, but maybe not with the oomph or the joy or the meaning, and that totally is a conversation killer. There's active destructive, where you're actively trying to find the negatives. And then there's passive destructive, where you just kind of don't even acknowledge. It's a conversation hijacker. Active constructive, you're enthusiastic, you have eye contact, you're authentic. When someone tells you great news, you say, great news! I knew you'd do it. How do you feel? You're super excited. Again, you're trying to build on that person's excitement. Passive constructive is when you have very low energy. Your response is delayed, you're really quiet. Again, you're saying the words, but you don't really mean it. For example, if someone tells you maybe they want a trip to Vegas, you respond with, oh, that's cool, that's nice, good for you. I mean, that definitely is not the type of response that you would want, right? If you're sharing good news. Then you have active destructive, in which you are totally trying to find all the negatives going on. You're squashing the event, you're dismissive, you're demeaning. I don't believe you, it sounds stressful. My goodness, if you want a trip to Vegas, you have to pay taxes. And what if you get robbed? This is a type of person or response that really, really finds, again, all the negative things that are happening. And then before you know it, you're not so happy about your happy news. Then you have passive destructive. They kind of just turn their focus inward. They change a conversation, they avoid it, they ignore. Again, hey, I want a trip to Vegas. And then your friend says, well, guess what? I want a new video game. And they go on and on and on and on talking about their new video game. The ones in the blue are not ways to build conversation, and they find through research that active constructive is the way to go. We're going to show an example of active constructive response. Again, this is the one that builds relationships. Here is the first example. Imagine your friend just told you that she got a scholarship to go to school. She's been wanting to do this for a very, very, very long time, but didn't have the budget for it. So she shares this with you, and an example of ACR or building. Remember that you're trying for an enthusiastic, authentic response. You're not faking it out, but you're genuinely excited for her. And remember, you're trying to multiply her joy through your response. The response could be something like, wow, that's amazing. Tell me about it. Or even, oh my gosh, that's so cool. How did you win it? Or, oh, I'm so excited for you. What are the details? And you kind of go back and forth and you upward spiral and you build this relationship with your friend. Next, we're going to watch an example of ACR in action.
Hey, Alice.
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
I am feeling great. You'll never guess what just happened to me.
What's that?
I got that promotion I was hoping for.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So when do you start?
First thing Monday. Yeah, I got some things to tie up around here, but it's official.
Very cool. So you get a new office and everything.
Yeah, I'm moving up to the 3rd floor. Getting out of this cubicle maze, finally.
Oh, aren't you the lucky one? Well, have you told Kathy yet?
Yeah, she's super excited. She wants to come and decorate my office.
You should let her. I know she has a great eye for that sort of thing. Are you guys going to celebrate?
Of course. I'm going to take her out to Casa Bella.
Oh.
Gonna make a night of it.
Very fancy. Well, I know she will just love it. Oh, and you should let her know. Good colors for the office. Purple polka dots.
I don't know about that.
This, of course, is active constructive communication. Alice showed authentic interest in Mike's news by elaborating on the experience. Mike feels validated and understood as the conversation progresses. Active constructive responding is the only one of the 4 that leads to stronger relationships.
We're going to see the same situation played out with passive constructive responses. You'll see that it is a total conversation killer, low energy, delayed response, not really supportive.
Hey, Alice.
Hey.
You remember that promotion I was hoping to get?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I got the call and they gave it to me.
That is so great.
Yeah, it starts next week, new office and everything.
Very cool, Mike.
All right, well, I'll talk to you later, I guess.
Yeah.
Which type of communication did you see? Passive constructive is the correct answer. Alice's response was very understated and did nothing to show authentic interest in Mike's good news. Mike left the conversation feeling unimportant, perhaps even embarrassed for sharing his news in the first place. Passive constructive responding is the most destructive to relationships.
In this next example, you will see an active destructive response. It is when you totally squash the event, find everything that's going wrong. In this situation, she is a total joy thief. And you'll see what I mean.
Hey, Alice.
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
I'm feeling great. You'll never guess what just happened to me.
What's that?
You remember that promotion I was hoping to get?
Yeah.
I got the call and I got it.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Yes. I'm so ready for this.
Are you sure about that? I mean, this is going to be a really big change and a lot of responsibility.
Well, yeah, but it's nothing I can't handle.
You do understand this means you will have all the crap put onto you from corporate.
Well, yeah, it comes with the territory. Besides, I got the new office, big raise. I think it's worth it.
Big raise? So what? I mean, you're going to be working 15-hour days and weekends.
Well...
Have you talked to Kathy? Is she okay with you being gone so much?
I hadn't thought of that. But I'm sure she'll be fine.
Will it be fine when you're leaving every other week for a business trip?
Okay, I hadn't considered that either. I need to rethink this.
Yeah, you should do that.
Which type of communication was that? This is active destructive communication. While Alice is engaged in the conversation, she is focusing on the negative details and squashing Mike's news. By the end of the conversation, Mike leaves feeling embarrassed and perhaps guilty for thinking the news was as good as he thought.
In this example, when she's going to totally hijack the conversation, she's going to take it and she's going to run with it and not build upon his excitement whatsoever. And this is an example of passive destructive response.
Hey, Alice.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
I am feeling great. You'll never guess what just happened to me.
What's that?
I got the promotion I was hoping to get.
Oh my God, that's fabulous. Oh, that reminds me, I just closed on the house I was buying.
Oh. Yeah, that's great.
I know, I can't wait. I even have new furniture picked out and everything.
All right, well, that's great. Great. I gotta get going.
All right, I'll see you later.
Which type of communication did you see this time? Alice used a passive destructive response here. By shifting the focus of the conversation to her, Mike's good news gets pushed to the side. The conversation is never started, and Mike leaves feeling confused, perhaps even disappointed.
I hope that was helpful information for you, learning about the 4 different types of responding to good news. If you forget all the terminology, it's not a problem. Just remember, how would you like someone to respond to your good news? That would probably be a response that is authentic, genuine, and excited. And those 3 things are ACR, and that's how we learn to build relationships with other people. All right, please let us know if you have any questions. If you're interested in the links to the YouTube videos, here they are. Hey, Christy, guess what?
What's up?
I got into this program. It's called H-PEP. And they do so many amazing things. And there's only 25 people that got accepted, and I got in. Isn't that cool?
That's so cool. You can't laugh. I should have hold my laugh. That was so mean to you.
Okay, cut. What do you think that was? What type of response do you think that was? Ready? It was, if you guessed passive constructive response, you are correct, Amundo. This was a total conversation killer. So,
How did that make you feel?
super awkward.
I felt really bad, actually.
Well, they say that this is the worst type of response you can have to good news, especially if someone's close to you, like a good friend or a partner, and you come home and tell them good news, and they're maybe watching TV while you're telling them, or if your child comes up and says to you, you know, you're
Mommy,
done.
I made a Lego at school today.
Yeah. And then you're super busy. Like,
Mm.
I'm sure, I mean, that happens to all of us, right? We're
Mhm.
very busy. You're doing the dishes. You're like, oh, that's cool. But just remember that this is not the type that can build a relationship.
I'm sorry for not building our relationship just now.
We will have redemption. Next scene. Chrissy, guess what? What's up? So I applied to this project. It's called H-PEP, and they do all these really fun things. I get professional development. I get to meet other people. And the best part is on the weekends, I don't even have to take off work.
What? On the weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of weekends, did you know what? I got tickets to the Alani, and it was so fun. We went this weekend, me and Carly. They have like these things called character breakfasts where you go and I want to go back. What were you saying about weekends?
Oh, it's okay. Never mind. So, what type of response do you think that was? Da-da. You guessed passive destructive. And yes, so true. Conversation hijacker is when someone shares really exciting news and then they kind of acknowledge it, but then they totally turn it into something else, a different conversation. And I think especially if you are close with someone, you want to share your good news when you see them. So you're excited and maybe you don't mean to steal their joy, but it is something to keep in mind.
That's a good one. And then I'm talking about something exciting.
Right.
So it's not like I was negative.
Right.
Yeah, I can see how that could be a hijacker.
And then in my real life, I would probably ask you questions and be excited. So I would probably do an ACR back, which would encourage you and probably make you feel validated in this scenario. But then if you just sort of, you know, didn't mind what I was saying, I might not leave the conversation and feeling the same way.
Yeah, we don't want to be conversation hijackers.
Yeah. Boo. Gracie, guess what?
Hey, what's up?
I applied to this really cool project and we do professional development. I get to meet other teachers. It's on the weekend. I'm super excited.
On the weekend?
Yeah, it's really cool because then I don't have
So
to
how are
take
you
off
going to spend
work.
time with your family?
Oh, you know, it's just like, it's not every weekend. It's only a certain time.
But do you get paid for it?
No, actually it's free, which is cool because normally you gotta pay for professional development.
Why would you want to go and waste your weekend and not even get paid for it?
Oh.
Does your husband know about that? He's okay with not spending time with you on the weekend? What kind of things are you going to learn?
There's all kinds of stuff. So the first one is an opening retreat and we get to go to Kokokahi and have some quiet time and be by the water.
Why would you want quiet time?
Oh, because you're so busy during the week, you know?
Yeah, then you'd spend your Saturday like being more busy. I don't understand that. Like, forget it.
I don't think I want to go anymore.
What was that? What was Christy being now?
Joy thief. So she was active in that she kept on actively finding the negative things and destroying the good news that I was delivering. So active destructive response.
Mm-hmm.
We may know people like this, or we may have had moments that we have done this also. It's completely normal, but if you can choose to be mindful and have a different response, you might have a different outcome as far as the types of relationships and the way you feel when you talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about this type of response?
Well, maybe sometimes people that are giving this response may feel like they're being helpful, like making you think, oh, hey, you really are gonna use your weekend, or what do you gain out of it when they're not really listening to the joy that you have and why you're doing it in the first place. They're thinking they're helping you, but really they're being joy suckers.
That's a good point. I mean, sometimes it really is nice to have someone question and help you work through that process. I mean, personally, I think that if someone wants you to do that, they might ask you, hey, like, what's your opinion on this? I'm thinking about it, rather than, obviously, if they're coming in and they're talking about just amazing news, they've already made up their mind. So it's, again, it's like up to you whether or not you're going to be genuine in your response. We are not asking for fake responses, that's for sure, but you need to be genuine in the response and decide how you want to build or not build the relationship in that moment.
Definitely. I think that all the time when I wait for a response. I'm like, am I working toward building this relationship, or am I not working toward building it? Hey, Naomi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What you been up to?
Nothing much. Just work and hanging out with my daughter. How about you?
Oh. Actually, I just applied to this project, and it's called H-PEP, and it's like a strengths-based professional development.
Wow.
Yeah, so we get to work with other educators from all around the state, and we do professional development and learn from different people. Yeah.
So what kind of things do you learn? It sounds super exciting.
And actually, I'm super excited about it. The first thing we do is have an opening retreat, which is at Kokokai. Have you been there?
Oh no, but I heard it's so beautiful.
It's really nice because it's like by the water and it's on the windward side. So it's really peaceful. It's nice to get away from town. And then we are going to have this all-day retreat where it's just going to be about self-care.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Journaling. We get to make little journals. Remember how we used to scrapbook? It's like so
Oh
cool.
my gosh, I so want to join you.
You should come.
Wow.
Sign up at happyhprep.wordpress.com.
Is there an email that I can email?
Yeah, you can email them at happyhrep@gmail.com.
That sounds super fun. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Hopefully you guessed what type of response that is. Yay! Active, constructive. So Christy took my joy and she multiplied it by 1,000.
Oh, yay. And it's number 1, Ichiban.
Ichiban number 1. This is the way to go. If you are wanting to build relationships with other people, this is the only response type that is shown by research to build relationships. So with your friends, your coworkers, your kids, your students, especially when you're in the classroom and they show you something that they think is really neat, or they draw something that they love, try as much as possible to do the ACR if you can, which is, again, just to be authentic, ask questions, show your interest. It's not about being fake and happy. So don't get that misconception, but it really is about being joyous and excited for your friend or the child or your student. We're doing all these strengths-based stuff, and we doing.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me, I just got tickets to Alani this weekend.
Oh. That's it then.
I'm out.
And peace out.
I think we